An emergency fund can give you peace of mind, but the downside is that it's not earning you much money. The classic saying is that with an emergency fund, the return of your principal matters more than the return on your principal. So you want to keep your emergency fund somewhere that's accessible, but it still allows you to make as much interest as possible. It's nice to earn something on at least some of the money if you can. So where do most people put their emergency funds? Well, these days, a lot of people are using a money market fund. This is a type of mutual fund that basically just invests in short-term investments and for the most part acts like a savings account at a bank. Now, it's not FDIC insured, but they're also not doing fractional banking. So a bank run really isn't a big concern with a money market fund. The other great option that some people use is a high interest savings account. And there are times when you can earn more in a high interest savings account than you can in a money market fund. Here in the summer of 2023, as I record this, that is not the case. But a year or two ago, it was. And so those are usually the two options that people choose. There are other things to consider, though. For example, you could use a CD, a certificate of deposit, for part of your emergency fund. You can either use really short-term ones that are coming due all the time, or you can simply break the CD, lose a little bit of interest if you actually need to use that emergency money, and that's no big deal. Other people use their checking account or a traditional savings account. The downside of these are that they don't pay much in interest. A really unique option that you occasionally see people use is a Roth IRA. Remember, you can withdraw money from a Roth IRA without any penalties, up to a certain amount for certain purposes. And, your principal can always be taken out. And so this is, if you find you don't have money for both an emergency fund and a Roth IRA, you can just put the money in the Roth IRA. And if you have to rate it, you can and use it as an emergency fund. Sometimes people use government savings bonds for their emergency fund. I-bonds are a popular choice, these inflation-indexed government savings bonds. Now, the one downside of these is they can't be your emergency fund for the first year because you can't get your money back for a year. And so they're not liquid in that respect. Between 1 and 5 years, if you cash them out, you lose some of the interest. I think the last quarter's interest you will lose on these bonds. But after that, you can take them out anytime and just redeem them. And so they're a reasonable option for part or all of your emergency fund as well. It's not a bad idea to keep a little bit of money in true cash, literally in your safe at home. If you really got to bug out in a hurricane situation or something, there's something to be said for having some of the green stuff at hand that you can use. I mean, some people go crazy about it and actually have, euros and pounds and yens and stuff in the safe, just in the event that they really had to bug out of the country. That might be overkill, but certainly having some cash around is probably a good idea. The bottom line is that your emergency fund is there to protect you from the unexpected. But with some strategic planning, you can make sure that money is also continuing to work for you. If your priority is immediate access to cash, your best options are a high-yield savings account or a money market account. But if you want to maximize the interest earned, you might want to look into a CD, Roth IRA, or even savings bonds. And that way your emergency fund will continue to work for you as it sits there. Given rates today, over 5% in money market funds, I'm perfectly content to let cash sit there right now. With our inverted yield curve, it's actually paying a higher rate than bonds are right now. So nothing wrong with money sitting in a money market fund these days for your emergency fund.
The hosts of The White Coat Investor are not licensed accountants, attorneys, or financial advisors. This podcast is for your entertainment and information only. It should not be considered professional or personalized financial advice. You should consult the appropriate professional for specific advice relating to your situation.